All right, friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. Let me know where you are tuning in from. And I am streaming live. It looks like YouTube is about to grab this live stream here. And I want to thank all of you. Whoops, let me click that off. I want to thank all of you for, I don't know what's going on here. What happened to my screen? This is what happens when we, and there we go. That's what happens when we are going live. So I want to answer your questions live. Very often I come on for a live stream and I'm so riveted by the topic that I'm talking about. And I want to bring you information and evidence and, read between the lies and do our critical thinking and look at images that I'm not always able to follow along with your comments in the chat on a live time. So I want to answer your questions live. I have been getting some questions via email, and so I will be answering those as well. And I just got off just got off our Life After Loss session 1. So that was very emotionally charged. And I'm so grateful for all of our participants that have decided to take action toward feeling better and looking ahead, even in the midst of overwhelm and devastating losses that are, you would just be floored if you heard what people are going through. And it's possible that you're going through some of that as well. So I don't want to exclude anyone from learning about what you can do to move ahead in life, not necessarily leaving everything behind, but integrating your losses and moving ahead. But I'm open to hear any of your questions. And that is my honor and privilege to be a support to you. I have some questions that have been coming in that I will answer, like, why don't people get this? What do you think about the WHO? That's another one that's coming on. And what about January 6th? So those are 3 things that I want to address as well. And you probably know that this is a sponsored show. And I'm so grateful to my sponsors who see value in my work and they want me to bring their message to you. So let's hop right on over. Give me just a moment here as we go to noblegoldinvestments.com. Now, you may think that you are not in a category of being able to protect your money. But let me just share with you the fact that gold has been on an unstoppable run. And this is according to Noble Gold Investments. If you've been hearing me bring you this message and you still haven't called them, for heaven's sakes, you can get your expert advice at 877-646-5347. You can see that right here on the screen. And gold has gone up more than 81% in the last 5 years. I think that's amazing. And almost 20% in the last 12 months. It is happening. Central banks are ditching the dollar and US treasuries are buying more gold. And the good news is that gold is predicted to go up even more. So UBS, which is an investment bank, said that gold could go up to $5,000 an ounce. Noble Gold Investments phone has been ringing nonstop. And it seems like everybody wants to protect their retirement with gold, and you can do the same. So, don't listen to me, listen to them. They're the experts and they can help you secure some gold, actual physical gold, to protect your future. From day one, you work with the same dedicated all-American expert. They're not sending you off to some phone lines, in another country. You speak to somebody in the United States. This is a family-run business. I know the CEO, Colin, he's been on my show before. So whether you are a beginner or an experienced investor, Noble Gold Investments will make sure you get all the help you need. Friends, you know I'm all about solutions and strategies, not sitting around complaining. So find out about getting this free. Let me see if I have it for you here. This is it. This is a 1/4 ounce gold standard coin if you open a qualified account. So again, go to noblegoldinvestments.com and I will have a link for you in the description box below. Friends, I want to answer your questions. So I'm going to hop right on over to the chat. And thank you everybody for being on board. As you are dropping your question, let me know where you are tuning in from, how long you've been a healthy American. And let me just start out with the first question. Why don't people see what's going on? And by see what's going on, we can lump a lot of things into that category of people being duped, bamboozled, and hoodwinked. And it is so distressing to those of us that can read between the lies. Raise your hand, give me a thumbs up if you were one of the ones 4 years ago, very early on, you were looking around saying, why is everybody in a panic? Why are they falling for this fear mongering? I call it flu mongering that they're seeing in the news. And well, that's the clue right there, because they're seeing it on the news. Early on in 2020, I was speaking out, trying to help people, like I walk them down off the cliff of their panic, because I knew that when people were living in fear, that their rational, logical mind was going to be hijacked and they wouldn't be able to think clearly and react rationally. And that's exactly what happened. So many of us were sounding the horn saying, it's not as bad as they're telling you. Don't fall for it. Don't lock yourself inside. Don't isolate from your family unless you want to. There's no law that requires you to do so. And there was no law then. And there never can be a legitimate law. It is a choice. And if people chose to do that, God bless them. I pray for them that they're not living in fear. But it really does go back down to people having their mind and emotions manipulated by the media. And people will say, why is that, Peggy? That's another question. Why would they do that? Well, let me ask you a question in return. Have you ever been betrayed by someone? Have you ever been lied to by someone that you know? That's somebody who actually cares for you? Have you yourself ever made a mistake and perhaps you didn't tell the truth, or you tried to sidestep a situation, or maybe you even harmed someone intentionally or even unintentionally, and you probably are a good person? And maybe even those who betrayed you, they were under the spell of evil and they may have atoned for their sins. The fact is, we're human. People make mistakes. And there are those who seek to do you ill will. Those who know you and those who don't know you. So why would we put the government and the media and, pharmaceutical companies and employers, and why would we give them a pass? Especially since it's more anonymous. There also is the fact that people will do things for money. They will betray you for money. They will lie to you for money. There are people who actually believe in the narratives that we've been told, and so they're willing to go along with it. So there are so many reasons why they, being the government, your employer, healthcare, these big companies, there are plenty of reasons why they want to control your behavior or lie to you or cheat you. Some people just don't have a conscience. They're psychopaths. They're sociopaths. They have their own mental illness or emotional wounds that they haven't gone through. And that is very sad. So I think it's very clear that there are compelling reasons why the government and the media would want to lie to you. And if you can't think of any, I encourage you to dig deeper, because it's very plain for many of us that they're not out for your best interest. I don't even think it's about money. I think it's about power. And I think it's about controlling you for their own ego. So you need to protect yourself from that. And one way of doing that is by focusing on your own life and not spending time, going down those rabbit holes of these headlines. I do bring you headlines from time to time, and I use it in a way to help you develop, and myself as well, to fine tune our skills of thinking, critical thinking, looking deeper, not believing what we're presented with, looking at evidence as if we're going into a court of law, having to make our case, evaluating the evidence. Can we believe what we're being shown? Can we believe what we're being told? In most cases, no. Unless I see it with my own eyeballs, I don't believe it. And sometimes my own eyeballs can actually play tricks on me. I think I told you a story years ago. I worked for the federal government. I worked for the Naval Postgraduate School. I was a research assistant when I was doing my master's degree in international studies and policies and law and so forth. And I just have a fascination with political systems and how they're formed, and justice and truth and freedom and all of that. It's always been a fascination of mine. And at that time, I was a young adult, probably my mid-20s. And there was another research assistant who was probably in her 60s. And I would see her in passing, and I built up in my mind this whole image of this very glamorous woman who drove this little, or her boyfriend drove this sports car. And I could see out the window, of this, I was up a few stories, and I could see out the window this elegant, glamorous woman getting into this fancy sports car with her boyfriend. And I thought, wow, in her 60s, she's like living the life. Well, one day I actually got to see this up close. And this little sports car was quite a bit of an older car. No harm there. I drive like an 18, 19-year-old car. But I had built it up in my own mind that it was some kind of, glamorous. And it's like, wow, this sports car has a couple of dings. The paint job is not that good. The boyfriend was quite a bit older than he looked from afar. And even this woman that I had built up into a glamorous manner, I could see it wasn't exactly what reality didn't match up with what I had built up. So sometimes our own eyes can deceive us. That's just kind of a lighthearted example. But the reason why people don't see what's going on is they are manipulated by the media. They are living in fear. Frankly, some of them are too lazy to do their own work. They don't even like to listen to a 20-minute video. Many of you are asking me for longer form videos, but there are those that are like, can you sum it up? Can you get to the point? Because they don't want to do the work. They don't want to go through the process of looking at evidence, evaluating evidence, coming to a conclusion, which is different than jumping to a conclusion. And some people are like that. They don't want to do the work, and they want to give over their responsibility to others. They want to give it over to the doctor, to their employer, to their spouse, to the government, to the media. And there are those who are living a life separated from God, and they're looking for a savior in a politician, in a spellcaster. Yes, that's what I call them on the news. I have another name for them as well, some of them that I'm not going to say publicly here. So those are the reasons why. Let me know in a comment why you think people are still falling for this. And mark my words, they will try to trot out the bird flu, diseases jumping from an animal to a human. Yeah. Oh, of course, that happens a lot. I need to say that for the record here. They will try to trot it out. But I am such an optimistic person, and I'm determined to not let others fall into the trap, as many as they did last time. So I believe that it won't be they won't get away with what they got away with last time, because more and more people are awake, alert, alive. We are connected. And my goal and my life is dedicated to educating and inspiring others to see the truth, to stand in truth, because there is no freedom without truth, and to ideally look forward to brighter days ahead. And in the meantime, experience some joy in life right now. All right. The next question I had was about, tell us about the WHO and the United Nations. They're going to be taking over our country. Well, no, they're not going to, unless you give them that right. Let me say that I applaud those who are bringing information to the surface about the self-appointed powers. That is the key phrase, my friends. The self-appointed powers of the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, that YouTube reminds me that I need to agree with, and the World Economic Forum, which is another self-appointed non-governmental agency. And I believe that the more we focus on them, the more power we're giving them. They have no power. There is zero, repeat after me, zero, nada, zilch, none, void, null, however else I can say it. The WHO has zero power over you, over your life, over this government. And even if these pandemic treaties are signed, they have no power over your life, only the power that you give them. You're giving your power away. Maybe not you, but those who are sounding the alarm. I think it's fantastic that and I hope you are repeating after me. Peggy says it's fantastic that people are taking action against the WHO. I applaud them. I applaud the senators. I applaud those in Louisiana. The Senate has passed a bill saying we're not going to follow none of those WHO protocols. Bravo. Now, it still has to be passed by the House. It still has to be signed into law. But the fact is, we're bringing awareness. We're shining the light of truth on this evil. Bravo. Where I draw the line is possibly the false alarms and the fear and dread and the spin that is going along with exposing the WHO. Because here's the bottom line. There is zero enforcement of this. Who is going to come after your state or the United States for not going along with it? What, is there some like international police force? Yes, Peggy, it's the United Nations. Well, yeah, it's not going to unfold the way that you may have been told. And even if it does, you personally are responsible for your own choices, not your employer, not your doctor, not your pastor, not your dentist, not your spouse, not your parent, not your children, and certainly not even your doctor, if I didn't mention that, and certainly not the government, and certainly not the WHO. Further, let me say this. 4 years ago, the WHO released all of its pandemic requirements, and I think it's hilarious that they call it a fake, PHEIC. That's pronounced fake. Yeah. Somebody remind me what that stands for. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. It's a pandemic health emergency of international concern, something like that. And the acronym is fake. So if you don't see that they are mocking you, they have no control over you or your actions. The fact is, 4 years ago, they issued all of their emergency protocols and all of that. And yes, the United States followed it. And yes, your governor followed it. And yes, your health officer in your county followed it. So they already are following it. What difference does it make whether they have some international treaty that talks about it? They already did. And did you go along with it? Probably not. I certainly didn't. Hashtag never have, never will. It's not up to the governor or the health officer or the president to tell you what to do with your body. And you stand strong and you make the choices and you experience the consequences of those choices. And hashtag, I'm marching it all the way to heaven. Now, years ago, when I was doing my studies to become a personal trainer, and I've had a long history in health and wellness, in addition to, political background and all of that. I was never in politics, but I studied political science and, government systems around the world. It's just a strange fascination I have. A student in the class raised her hand and had a question for the professor and said, I've heard about radiation and I'm concerned because I'm a woman. And she said that she wears an underwire bra and she wanted to know from the anatomy professor, is this something I should be concerned about? Because it keeps me up at night. I'm very worried. And the professor said, and I quote, and I hope you'll take this to heart. The professor said, worrying about the wire in the bra is worse than the wire in the bra. Let me know in a comment how you interpret that. I interpret it to say that anxiety and fear and dread and panic and addiction to the drama is worse than the actual thing. So no, I'm not afraid of the big bad WHO at all. They have zero authority over my life. There's zero enforcement authority. And by the same token, I applaud those who are bringing this to light, but don't let it keep you up at night. All right, here we go. The next question I had was about January 6th, and I have rarely spoken about that on this platform. Number one, I wasn't there. Number two, my comments would be highly censored on this platform, if you know what I mean, about the, how do I put it, veracity of what we were shown on the media regarding that event. But I have spoken about a couple of the individuals that I know personally that were arrested by the FBI, that had flash bombs go out at their house, that were handcuffed and dragged off, and now that have gotten sentences. I'm going to tell you about two people. And one of them, a freedom fighter, both of them freedom fighters in Orange County. I have many pictures of myself with them because we did events together, and I trusted these individuals. And I would say that I still do. I don't have any evidence that they were plants, that they were saboteurs, that they were infiltrators. Now, there might be more information that comes to light because remember, I deal with facts. And if there's evidence that can be verified that this is the case, I might entertain that. But I will say that my view is that it was completely blown out of proportion, that these individuals were targeted because they were having an impact in Orange County, because Orange County was one of the loudest voices. And to my knowledge, I think the first location, San Clemente, was one of the very first places of defiance where people came out. It's not even defiance isn't even the best word for it, but people are like, we're not doing this. We're not closing our businesses. We're not, we were marching in the streets to show that, hey, we're going to live normally. And that was very, very early, like the first week into all of this, because California was the first state to shut down. So Orange County, San Clemente in particular, was targeted by the FBI to keep their eyeballs on us. I actually wrote to the FBI. I said, I want you to release my file. I want to see what you're doing. And they said, we can neither confirm nor deny that we have a file on you. Yeah, whatever. I have not done anything that violates anything. And it's the exact opposite. I've been teaching people how to stand up for their God-given rights that should be protected by laws, which you and I know have been trampled on. The courts are corrupt. I'll have an update for you next week with more evidence of that. So January 6th, I think you can read between the lies on that. I think there was a lot to be questioned about that. And one of the individuals that I know, actually, it is a little distressing to me that his attorney advised him to testify against one of the other defendants. Like, how do you feel about that? That was the attorney's advice. And because of that, this individual got, like a house detention, I think they call it, and probation, no time in prison. The other individual was sentenced to over 10 years in prison. I think it was 11 years in prison. It could have been 12. And they both participated in having a rally there in Washington, D.C. And as some of the evidence came out, again, I don't even know if I can believe what the FBI says and what the Department of Justice says. They came out with evidence that apparently was enough to convict these individuals. So it's like, is justice served that they were both there doing the same thing, and one got the house detention and probation, and the other's facing more than a decade in prison? Like, that rubs me the wrong way as well. So I pray for peace. I pray for justice. And I know that even the individual that got the heavy sentence is standing strong and is determining, like he said, he would put it all on the line, and he did. So prayers for those affected. Those are my comments on January 6th. And I think those were the first incoming questions. So here we are. I want to go because I said, ask me anything. So we've got our question coming in. I want to thank everybody here. We've got Dolly from Portland, Mighty Smart Mom, California, a pen pal of mine. I'll just put it that way. I love getting your cards and letters. Everyone, there's a link, or there's it's 205 Avenida del Mar, number 681. That's my P.O. box. San Clemente, California, 92674. It is a P.O. box. I pick up my mail weekly. So I do thank all of you for your patience as I'm working with Rhonda, who helps me with my correspondence, as we thank you for your generous support, your cards, your letters, your encouraging words, your prayers. Your donations mean all of the difference. And then we've got Mitch from Valley Springs, California. Christopher's been a longtime healthy American. So many on here. Kelly from Amarillo, Texas. Kristen from Florida, so many. Let me scroll down a little bit to the questions. So Nikki says, I hope you'll consider interviewing James Roguski. I reached out to him because I had some questions for him and he didn't reply. So I'll just put that on the record. I did have questions as to why he is supporting the World Health Council. See, I don't believe that our health has anything to do with any other country or any other world council. And God bless those that are looking for an alternative to the WHO. And this is like a European World Health Council. Maybe it's just me, but my health is individual. I don't want anything to do with the World Health Council. I don't want any protocols being told to me, even by, doctors that are well known in the field. I just don't want a part of any of that. So that's a question I have for James Roguski. And I also want to know why he has 3 globes on the bookshelf behind him. I don't, if he collects globes, or I don't know what that means. Like, I'm against global anything. I'm against like a global government. I'm against global health councils. I'm against global, I just am not. I don't want global laws. I want like the most local possible, which is like your community. So I don't know, James. I reached out to him. Again, I applaud those that are bringing information, but I don't care for an alarmist point of view. It's just me. I like to be a little more, I don't know how to put it, but like matter of fact. So there you have it. Maybe he will respond after all, because those are some questions I had for him. Okay. Tips for expectant parents who want to raise a child. All right. I will try to link up for you. I did a video and there is a wonderful resource from Physicians for Informed Consent. So do a search on the internet, Physicians for Informed Consent. I did a video and they have so many amazing resources from doctors about these medical products that go inside your body. And it's a really great resources that you can give to other parents. It is not like, conspiracy theorist or anything like that. It's information, it's facts, there's evidence, there are studies, and it's all done for those who want like information. Because what happens is so many of us in the movement are so enthusiastic about trying to save lives that some people can be put off by that because they lump it all together thinking that you're kind of crazy and blah, blah, blah. So go to the Physicians for Informed Consent as a starting point. And Dr. Tenpenny has a lot of information as well. Unfortunately, the greater media kind of paints her as a little bit of again, conspiracy theorist. So Physicians for Informed Consent is a great place to start. Thank you, Christopher. Yes, let's help Peggy smash that like button. And okay, cognitive dissonance is alive and well. Andrea says, Andrea knew right from the beginning. C wants to know, what if you're turned away from the doctor's office for not signing their pad? So C, I am going to draw a conclusion that you do not want to sign something electronically. So I would request a paper form of whatever it is they want you to sign. That way you can cross out what you don't agree with. And we also gave that advice to those who were signing documents at their job and they wanted to sign something that said, I am I am contagious to others, blah, 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 blah. And so I recommended that you cross that out and say, the CDC says that I am contagious to others. That's a fact, but you are not signing that. So also with one of our Healthy Americans, Effa, whose mom was being harassed to get the assault, and they wanted them to sign papers to be released from the hospital, and she crossed out the parts that she didn't agree with. So I think that's part of the reason why C is not consenting to doing something electronically. And of course, who knows who gets those records and all of that. Kelly, I want to applaud Kelly right now. If everybody would give a round of applause. First of all, Kelly, I appreciate your honesty. She said, I got 2 of the cocktails, the cookies, I drank the tea. Let me know in a comment how y'all describe this. All right. There are so many people say they went to the buffet, whatever. I think it's great that we're using these kind of aphorisms. And Kelly says, I did end up getting 2 of them. And then I said no more. Kelly, I applaud you for your honesty. And I applaud you for living by your convictions now. I would say that for people that went along with this, you even are on a stronger position in some ways, because you can say, look, I went along with it under this coercion, intimidation, pressure, and I am going to reject it going forward. So good for you, Kelly. And if you ever are being forced or coerced again, you tell them that God told you to say no, and you are not doing it. And there are plenty of people that are standing up with you. And I also will pray for your healing. I do believe, this is my own opinion, and there may be evidence to back it up, that there were some placebos out there. Even Walgreens came out and said, oh, whoops, we had saline. Pastor David says that it's probably a lot of saline because they don't even want to pay for the actual ingredients. So I hope that was your case as well. Okay. And Swiss agrees that if they give you the pad and you don't want to sign it, you get it on a hard copy and you scratch out the parts you don't want. Okay. Let's see. C got turned away from the doctor. I have lots of videos on this channel, and I have a playlist called Medical Rights. And I actually go through step by step how to file a complaint against your doctor. You let them know in writing that you're going to file a complaint because it's illegal for you to be rejected. What if somebody has a technology, discrimination? Like maybe you can't be next to an iPad or something. They should not, you need to educate them. And you can make a complaint with your insurance company, with the location, your doctor's office, and more. Yes, Swiss says search for naturopaths. Okay. Doctors are trying to protect themselves. Okay, the TB test you can do as a screening, a non-invasive screening. And you say, I don't want to be injected with anything. What have you got for me? And that happened to me as a teacher at the community college. They weren't testing the students, I don't think, but I was being tested. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I won't take this job. And they said, okay, well, we'll ask you some questions. And they did, and they cleared me. And you can also do a titer. I wouldn't do it, but that's like drawing blood to see if you're clear. Like I wouldn't do that, but I also wouldn't get a chest x-ray, but I suppose you could do that as well. So I'm not having anything like that injected into my body. Andos, thank you, says, I've heard about detox protocols. Let me know in a comment if you would like me to bring you more information about that. I did do a detox seminar with Dr. Chari. She is an MD, a holistic MD, and that was a really great seminar. Let me know if you'd like me to have her on again to talk about this. Okay. Andrea says, ignorance is bliss. That's why people are still going along with it. Andrea, you're exactly right. They don't want to know. And part of me wants to have compassion for them. And I have compassion up until the limit of where it harms me. It's at my own expense. But I will have distant, compassion with boundaries, because that is sad to live that way. It is sad. And they just don't want to or don't have the capacity to deal with it. Stephen said the costumes they wear, like the white jackets with some regalia, trigger compliance, the white coat syndrome. Okay, let's see. I'm looking some more for your questions here. Thank you, everybody, for being on board. Okay. Oops, my questions backed up a little bit. Okay. Thank you for all of your comments also that you are putting in here. Mar says, hi, Peggy. I'm glad to be on here live. Still seeing the woke persons in stores and outside with the suffocation devices on. I might be a little delayed in the chat here if you mentioned that earlier. I hear that many say, well, my doctor advises me. I don't know if there's hope for those people. You know what? If they want to do it, they're going to do it. Just don't intrude upon me. Okay. Here we go. Yes. Clap, clap, clap. Congratulations on waking up. Praise God, Kelly. Good job for doing that. Let me click ahead a little bit. All right. So I'm going to bring information on my lawsuit for you next month. And regarding the community pool, I never sued them because I went on to sue the county. And I didn't stay in that city. I didn't stay in that community. That was my taking care of myself. I wasn't going to pay taxes to that city. I was not going to support that community pool. So I personally could not force them to follow the law. And I realized that it was causing me so much distress and anger and like hatred. It's pretty strong, but like I was hating, maybe not so much them, but their behavior. And I was hating their stupidity. And I realized that like I needed to rescue myself. And so I didn't stay in that community. And I'm grateful for it. Not everybody has that opportunity to change, but for me, it was the right thing. So again, that's a boundary. That's a healthy boundary of I'm going to do what I can do. And I gave them the notice and they know who I am and they know that they're wrong. And here's the other thing that I did. I really appreciate you asking me that question, MJ Sterling, because you know what I did? I turned the tables on the tyrants. I think I'll have to do another video on that. I did that some time ago and it's such a powerful one. You know what? Let me save that for you till tomorrow, turning the tables on the tyrants. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I did and how it gave me great peace of mind. So the short answer is I did what I could do to change and to take care of myself. And really at the end of the day, you know, along with prayer and support from others, taking care of yourself is the best way to handle all of this. Okay. Question, is there really a TB breakout in California? Oh, yeah, I should cover that in an upcoming video as well. That's more of the scare tactics, the flu mongering, the fear mongering. It might be that there is. And if that's something of a concern for you, then, you know, you want to think about ways of staying healthy and all of that. Rhonda says, don't believe it. Okay. I like Swiss says you have to choose psychological freedom because that's where they go after us, isn't it? It's like messing with our minds. And I'm just going to make a simple statement about what's going on in the Middle East. And I am well aware that there are many healthy Americans that are Jewish, and there are many healthy Americans that are Christian. There are many healthy Americans that are Muslim, and there are many opinions on all of this. And there are those that are living in fear that our country is going to become a Sharia law. I personally don't see that, and I don't live in fear of that. And there are others that believe that the Palestinians are, a blight on the earth and should be eradicated once and for all, which is like holding me personally responsible for Newsom or holding all y'all responsible for Biden. Like, how are we responsible for what the leaders do? How are those responsible for what's going on in their country? They have no voice. They have no weapons. They have no army. Yet the best trained army in the world is decimating them. Okay, I have to speak out about this because it is a psychological operation to make people believe that this is an important move toward peace. It's not. I really am speechless here because there is, there are war atrocities and there are crimes against humanity that have happened, over the centuries. But how does that not apply? And my other statement is, if Jews criticize Netanyahu, are they anti-Semitic too? I've done videos about anti-Semitism. They're no longer on YouTube, but they are on Rumble. And I can tell you why these topics on YouTube are not well tolerated when you think about who's behind YouTube. So I love my Jewish healthy Americans. I love my Muslim healthy Americans. I love my Christian healthy Americans. I love all y'all, the atheists included. I'm here to offer support, encouragement, and all of that. But the psychological operation that we're seeing is exactly what happened with the hogwash 4 years ago. Even if we buy their narrative of a respiratory disease, you're going to compromise your respiration. I'm speechless again. Decimating an entire population is the path to peace. This is the psychological warfare. And this is why people are confused, befuddled. I'm going to start using that word because they know the right from wrong, but they're being told wrong is right. That's my statement on that. All right. Friends, we are going to be wrapping up here. I am so grateful. Here's another question, Marina. Would you contact the board lawyer who they need a lot of help exposing targeted programs? Okay. Thank you for that, Marina. I will look into that. It is not an area of my expertise. I appreciate you bringing that information into the forefront. That's very important. And I'm sure there are many that, along with you, would like to have more light directed there. So, okay, this was really great. I think I'm going to make more of a regular feature of Ask Me Anything, because so often I'm not able to see your comments while I'm recording. And C wants to know, is there a link to a resource for doctors or naturopaths? If you are on the Substack, we are compiling information along those lines. So that is peggyhall.substack.com. Let me know, give me a thumbs up, friends. If you are a subscriber, it's free. Stay tuned for my video tomorrow, all about freedom. And a very strange response I got from somebody, not a healthy American, who was reading my Substack and didn't understand that it was free. I'll just leave it that way. Yes, it is going to be a snarky video for you on Friday. I hope that's all right. And I will also have a video for you on turning the tables on the tyrants and how I keep my own sanity and peace of mind in these stormy seas of life. Friends, if you like this type of encouragement, I encourage you to join me on Mondays. It's my other channel here on YouTube. It's called Living Swell with Peggy Hall. And I titled it that because I love the ocean, I love the waves, and we have the swells of life, the ebb and flow. And sometimes we feel like we're being pulled under. Sometimes we can ride that wave. And that channel is all about encouragement, emotional encouragement, actually physical, like living a healthier life, because that's an important part of what I do as well. So we're there Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific. Of course, everything is recorded if you can't make it live. And I have a Substack over there, livingswell.substack.com. So signing off for now. Thank you, everybody, for being on board. I hope you know what an encouragement you are to me. Our moderators are here, Valerie, Rhonda, occasionally Ava. She is flying the friendly skies. She stayed strong all these years and never suffocated. And if she can do it, we can all do it. So she didn't participate with any of this. And of course, I never have either. And I want to give you that encouragement so that you can stand strong. And as you know, I am marching this all the way to heaven. And I'm so grateful to have you on board with me. Thanks, everybody. See you in an upcoming broadcast.